Hello, today I'm recording a detailed video tutorial for this puff flower hair tie. Keep watching. The yarn we'll use today is Susan's Family Handmade Yarn number 2 in color 17. This yarn is perfect for making puff flowers because of its ideal thickness, and it's very smooth. The hair tie needed is one with a relatively small inner diameter. Since puff flowers can only be worn as a single layer, you need to choose a hair tie with a small inner diameter for crocheting. The crochet hook used is 4 mm. With these items ready, we can begin. Now you can start crocheting. Take the prepared yarn and hold it together with the hair tie. The yarn over gesture remains the same as before. Then pinch the yarn tail together with the hair tie here, and work single crochets all around the hair tie. First, bring the yarn from the back and wrap it around the hair tie, which creates a slip knot. Now you can start working single crochets. Insert the hook into the loop, yarn over and pull through. With 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through both loops to complete the first single crochet, then yarn over and pull through again for the next single crochet. Note that you need to work a total of 20 single crochets around the hair tie. Since the puff flower has 5 petals, and each petal corresponds to 4 stitch loops, you need to work 20 single crochets in total. After completing 20 single crochets, count the chains from the beginning to check if you've worked exactly 20 single crochets. Mistakes here will affect the subsequent crocheting of the puff flower. Once counted correctly, insert the hook into the first stitch for a slip stitch. Insert the hook, pull the yarn through, and tighten the loop. Otherwise, beginners might mistake this loop for a stitch, so you must pull it tight and tidy it up slightly afterward. The hair tie section of the puff flower is now completed. Now that the inner circle of the hair tie is done, we'll start crocheting the petals of the puff flower. This part will be explained in detail, so let's start crocheting the petals together. Each petal corresponds to 4 stitches, so identify the first 4 stitches clearly before starting the petal. Work 6 chain stitches, CH, here, which are also called braid stitches. After completing the braids, turn them over to see the small ridges at the back, which are the back loops of the chain stitches. During the process of crocheting petals, each stitch must be inserted into the back loop. Normally when crocheting, you might insert into the braid of the chain stitch, but for petals, you need to insert into the back loop. Inserting into the first back loop might feel tight, so pay attention when inserting the hook. Insert into the first back loop, then yarn over. Pull out to have 2 loops on the hook, then insert into the next back loop, and pull out again. Note that each pulled loop should not be worked through yet, just leave the loops on the hook. For each back loop, first insert the hook, yarn over, and pull through a loop. Continue wrapping the yarn, and don't forget to work the last back loop. Insert into the last back loop, yarn over, and check that there are 7 loops on your hook. After completing the first row of back loops, bring it back into the first round of the hair tie. Chain stitches have front and back strands. For the first round of petals, insert into the front loop of the chain, which is the half stitch closer to the body. Do not go through the entire stitch, only the front half, then yarn over and pull through. After pulling through the loop, there should be 8 loops on your hook. During crocheting, you can count the loops. To avoid mistakes like missed or extra stitches that could affect the petal shape, now count to make sure there are 8 loops in the first row, which is correct. Then yarn over and pull through 2 loops at a time, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over again, and pull through 2 more. Continue this rhythm until all loops in the row are completed, finishing the first row of the petal. Now start the second row of petals, which requires one increase stitch. Simply work a chain stitch on this loop. When crocheting this chain stitch, don't pull too tight, as it will make the back loop too tight and difficult to insert the hook again. Now insert into the back loop position, yarn over and pull through. Continue inserting into the back loop and yarn over. Each stitch must go through the back loop, leaving the loop on the hook. The second row should have 8 loops total, meaning there are 8 loops before working into the outer half stitch not connected to the hair tie. After completing 8 loops, insert into the outer half stitch of the first single crochet's chain stitch to pull through another loop. At this point, there should be 9 loops on your hook. Count to verify your loop count is correct. If everything is correct, continue pulling through 2 loops at a time. While pulling the yarn, you can use your right index finger or middle finger to gently press down on the loops to prevent them from slipping off the hook. Press slightly and pull through 2 loops at a time. Now the second row of petals is complete, and we need to add one more stitch for the third row. Work another chain stitch into this loop, then turn your work. It's easier to find the back loop stitches this way. Continue inserting into the back loop position. Insert into the back loop, yarn over, insert into the back loop, yarn over. This pattern remains the same for each row of every petal. What you need to pay attention to is how many loops should be on your hook for each row, and how many loops there should be after working into the outer half stitch. I'll also provide a detailed written version in the video description for you to reference while crocheting. For the third row, before working into the outer half stitch, there should be 9 loops on your hook. Please count to confirm. Each petal of the puff flower has 8 rows, so every 2 rows correspond to 1 braid stitch on the hair tie. For the third row, insert into the second braid stitch's outer half stitch, still working the outer half stitch. So for the first row, you worked into the first braid stitch. For the second row, you worked into the first braid stitch. Now for the third row, work into the second braid stitch. After inserting into the outer half stitch of the second braid stitch, there should be 10 loops on your hook, then continue pulling through 2 loops at a time as per the pattern. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops at a time until all loops in this row are completed. Now 3 rows of petals are done, and we need to complete 8 rows in total. After completing the increase in the third row, rows 4 through 6 don't require any increases or decreases. Just insert into the back loop, yarn over, pull through, and continue crocheting. When working into the outer half stitch of the hair tie during rows 4 through 6, there should be 9 loops on your hook. After inserting into the outer half stitch braid on the hair tie, there should be 10 loops, then pull through 2 loops at a time. The third and fourth rows of this petal correspond to the second braid stitch. After completing the fourth row, insert back into the outer half stitch of the same braid stitch used in the third row, 10 loops on hook, then begin pulling through 2 loops at a time. Now 4 rows of petals, rows 1 through 4, are completed. You can stretch it out to check. Each pair of rows corresponds to 1 braid stitch. After completing 4 rows, begin rows 5 and 6, which correspond to the third braid on the hair tie. Still work into the outer half stitch. Rows 5 and 6 follow the exact same pattern as rows 3 and 4. Just remember to insert into the outer half stitch of the third braid stitch on the hair tie and yarn over. Complete rows 5 and 6 following this pattern, then learn how to decrease for the 7th row petals. Six rows of petals are done. Now proceed to crochet rows 7 and 8. For row 7, decrease stitches to achieve the same curve as row 2. How to decrease. Flip the fabric over, skip the first back loop, do not insert into it, and insert directly into the second back loop position. In other words, simply leave the first back loop unworked. Then yarn over the second back loop, and pull through a loop, yarn over again, and pull through, still follow the previous pattern. After completing row 7, there are 8 loops on the hook, insert into the 4th single crochet's outer half stitch. Insert, pull through, now 9 loops on the hook, then continue decreasing 2 loops at a time. When crocheting petals, always double check your loop count, incorrect loops will cause misshapen petals. So after finishing each row, verify your loop count is correct. Then continue decreasing 2 loops at a time until the last stitch. The decrease pattern remains, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops again, repeating until the final decrease. Now row 7 petals are completed, row 8 still requires decreasing. Skip the first back loop, insert directly into the second back loop, pull through a loop, still leaving the first back loop unworked, continue yarn over and pull through from the second loop onward. After completing the 8th petal, there are 7 loops remaining on the hook. For row 8, still insert into the outer half stitch of the 4th chain stitch, yarn over to pull through a loop, then decrease 2 loops at a time until the last stitch. After decreasing 2 loops at a time to the final stitch, the 8th row petal is complete. Now the first petal's 8 rows are finished. Every 2 rows correspond to 1 chain stitch's outer half stitch, meaning the first petal occupies 4 chain stitches total. There are 5 petals total, each corresponding to 4 half stitches among 20 single crochets. Now let's see how to secure row 8. Simply insert into each back loop and make a slip stitch, starting with the first back loop. Yarn over. Then pull through directly, that's the slip stitch. Continue slip stitching the next back loop with yarn over. Third slip stitch with yarn over, 6 back loops total. Completing these 6 slip stitches secures the petal's edge. After 6 slip stitches, insert again into the outer half stitch of the 4th chain stitch, the 4th single crochet, slip stitch once more, then pull the loop tight. At this point, the first petal is completely finished crocheting. Now to start the second petal, insert the hook into the outer half stitch of the 5th chain stitch single crochet. Make a slip stitch and pull tight. This establishes the beginning of the second petal. Continue with 6 chain stitches to start the first row of this petal. The crocheting pattern for each petal is identical. The second petal won't be explained in detail now. If you're unsure, rewind and follow along with the video to crochet the second petal together. Into the single crochet of the hair ring. While crocheting puff flowers, remember not to pull the yarn too tight, this makes stitches too small and harder to see or work into. After securing the 5th petal's edge, turn the work to crochet the second layer, the wrong side. Since puff flowers require 3 dimensions, you'll need to crochet 10 petals total, front and back, then sew them together at the end. After completing all 5 petals, take a look at how it appears now. Now turn the workpiece to the wrong side to crochet the second layer of petals. After finishing the 5th petal, a slip stitch was made into the single crochet. When starting the backside petals, insert into the inner half stitch of the corresponding single crochet, the other half of the stitch that was previously away from the body, and make another slip stitch. Now begin the sixth petal, the first backside petal, by chaining 6 to start the first row of the petal. Same pattern as before, 5 petals need to be crocheted on the wrong side, each corresponding to 4 single crochets. When crocheting the backside, the chain stitches corresponding to the single crochets will be clearer. Just follow the same pattern, chain and crochet each petal as before. After completing all 10 petals, proceed to the next step, sewing the petals together. Leave a yarn tail for sewing. If unsure about length, wrap the yarn around the petal edge to estimate. Keep the yarn loose when pulling to ensure it's long enough. Leave 5 extra sections for sewing petals, plus an additional section as backup in case more yarn is needed. Once the yarn length is confirmed, cut the yarn. After cutting, pull the yarn through the remaining loop and tighten it. After removing the loop, prepare a sewing needle to begin sewing. During sewing, each petal's edge clearly shows chain stitches after edging. Insert the sewing needle through the outer half of the chain stitch on the front pattern side, then through the outer edge of the next stitch, and pull the yarn through. After pulling through, tighten the loop, then insert the needle through the outer half of the next chain stitch, and exit through the outer edge of the opposite side. Each chain stitch aligns clearly, simply pass the needle through each corresponding stitch and tighten. Move to the next outer edge and align the stitches accordingly. Pull through and sew back and forth like this. Leave a small opening at the end of each petal for stuffing. After sewing from one side to the other, fill the opening with fiber fill. Don't overstuff the petals, if they're too hard, they'll stretch out the hairband. Once stuffed, check the size and finish sewing. For each petal, sew along the outer half of the chain stitches, stuff, and repeat this pattern until all 5 petals are complete. After finishing the last petal, hide the yarn tail. Simply tuck it anywhere you prefer. Poke it into the petal, wrap around, then through the next petal, pulling the yarn through. Since it's hidden in the stuffing, it won't come loose. Gently tighten, cut the yarn, and tidy up so the tail disappears into the cotton. Buttons and fabric labels are optional decorations, add them based on your preference. Now the puff flower hairband is complete.